Hey, everybody. It's the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. I wore it today. That's right, to force the issue.
You want it full time, right?
What's up?
You want that logo back full time in that color.
No, I don't want it back full time, but I'm excited for Kelly Green to come back next year. To me, they like Midnight Green is now indelibly part of the franchise's history, not just because of the Andy Reid years where we had a lot of success, but the Super Bowl.
I don't call it that. I don't call it that. I call it the Jeff Lurie era. It came around when he bought the team and said,
right,
okay,
but what I'm saying,
I can sell some new gear here.
What I'm saying is if we went to Midnight Green and then we stunk for the next 10 years, I'd have a problem with it. But Andy got here, and the Eagles were one of the best run franchises of that first decade, of the 2000s. They were a top 10 in terms of wins.
You want me to say the gold standard and give Howdy some dap here? The gold standard?
They went from being under Norman Brayman, one of the joke franchises of the NHL.
Absolute worst.
The kind we make fun of now with Snyder. And
I have told you this story about my brother. His last year in the NFL, he tried out for the Eagles.
Oh, you did tell me this. Yeah, but go ahead.
And he asked for a pair of socks in pregame. Not pregame, but for a practice. And the guy was like, I'll put that in your tab. And he goes, what do you mean tab? And he was like, yeah, they charge $7 for a pair of socks. He's like, are you kidding me?
Norman Brayman.
Yeah, exactly. And he had to wear Eagles issued green Nike. The only thing on it was a Nike swoosh was green, and the logo on the back because they were just plain white. This is what nobody wore black shoes. Right. And he came from the Colts, and he goes, I have 15 pair of cleats right here. I'm going to spat them anyway. I'll just draw a green. And the guy was like, no, you can't do that. It was just like, you are that cheap of an organization.
You know what, though? To that point,
unbelievable.
It is amazing how much difference the owner makes in a franchise's success.
It really is, man. I mean, think about, okay, it's just going to sound weird. It's like when I came out in 1996, I was told, dude, half the organizations in the NFL, like probably 3/4, have less of a facility than Penn State. I mean, that was a true thing. Yeah. And now I think the 49ers way of thinking from the early 80s and the late 80s, that decade of dominance that they had in the 80s, and how Jerry Jones took care of his team, I think that bled out to the rest of the NFL. Now, you still have your cheapskates. You still have your Cincinnati Bengals and stuff like that. Really bad, poorly run organizations, just shitty facilities and shitty everything. And,
But even if you look at the way the Bengals are run now versus the way they were like 20 years ago, it's night and day.
Just how many stadiums in the NFL are not named? Not many, if any. And they just named it from the Paul Brown Stadium. They got rid of Paul Brown's name, and they're going to actually. Somebody paid millions of dollars to put it in. I don't think they were. They either weren't soliciting that, but I think they were.
The only one that's untouchable is Lambeau Field.
I can agree with that because it's not owned by a greedy individual.
Correct.
I mean, that's the bottom line.
In fact, I just read a tweet from what's his name? Not Kyle Brandt, the old guy, Gilbrandt, where he's
still talking even after the. Okay.
Yeah. He said that he brought up an offer that had been put on the table to the Packers organization to name Lambeau Field, and he was told if he brought that up at the shareholders meeting, he was going to have to plan an escape out of town. So, I mean, that's right. That's right.
Good. You got to respect that.
Yes.
Now, yesterday they said that the last 5 professional franchises that have been sold have been in over the $2 to $3 billion mark. The Broncos being sold this past week. The new ownership took over. That's 4 or 5 or 5.4 billion. Like, okay, Jeffrey Lurie bought the Eagles for $100 million, right? Or $400 million, something like that. Most of it borrowed money.
Yeah,
most of it was borrowed money and loaned money. But
400 sounds right.
And then now you're at about, they're probably worth over $1 billion.
He's at probably about $1.5 billion. You just got to
think about that. What in the hell is going on? I mean, the players are making so much more money, and I know we're going to get to the Eagles. I know we're going to get to it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just sitting there watching, and I'm like, people are complaining about the players making money, but no one ever says shit about the owners. They're the ones who are getting these TV deals. I mean, the Big Ten, that's the big thing right now. $335 million is what the Big Ten just signed for, right? Is it or a year?
Wait.
The new contract they just did when they left the ESPN.
Yeah, I mean, it's What was the number you
I
said?
don't. It was. I thought it was going to be close to $1 billion, but I think
It's going to be more than that.
What are they? ESPN pulled out. They're done.
Yep.
So and this is not for this year. This is starting next season. So, but like, just think about that. The NFL owners are making that money. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
right.
Crazy to think about. Like,
the owners don't have to pay for like a lacrosse team.
They're not paying for a women's ski team that travels to Vermont and Denver. Well, not that we do, but you know what I mean.
Right.
They're not having to do that. It's their money, and it's just like, it's crazy to think of the numbers that are being thrown right now. Once you get into the B world, and I don't think there's many organizations that are under $1 billion right now. I mean, even the Jacksonville Jaguars are. I mean, in an NFL franchise, there's nobody under $1 billion.
So the history of the NFL, I think, is fascinating because of what the league had to do to survive early on when professional football was considered like a total joke.
It was.
So college football was the only form of American football that got any kind of credit. And then you had, certainly baseball, probably boxing was a bigger sport than pro football.
Oh, it had to be.
First
If
half
Madison
of the
Square
century.
Garden's the most famous arena in the world, so it sure as hell wasn't the Knicks and Rangers, buddy.
Madison Square Garden, boxing, and Michael Jordan scoring 50 on the Knicks.
And Spike Lee getting the choke symbol, the choke symbol against him from Reggie Lewis.
So Reggie Miller. Yeah. So
who did I say? Reggie Lewis?
Reggie Lewis.
God
yeah.
Rest,
No, you're good.
Rest in peace, sir.
Crap. What was I saying? Oh yeah. Okay. So, but because of the scrappy underdog nature of the league in trying to fight their way onto the stage with Major League Baseball and boxing and college football, the NFL adopted this all-for-one mentality, where they are in many ways the most cutthroat, ruthless capitalist organization in the country, but in other ways, they're basically like a socialist commune, right? In the way their internal business works. And to your point about why, it's certainly like a couple of franchises, big names like San Francisco, Dallas, Washington, they're all worth close to $2 billion. Every franchise in the league now is approaching $1 billion because the value of being an NFL.
Cowboys are $4 billion. I think.
Maybe you're right. It might be 4.
Sorry.
The value of being an NFL franchise is so great that it's like the rising tide that lifts all the boats, even the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really, really interesting study to look at the way the NFL fought its way to the biggest sport in America.
Something has to be said of that cutthroat mentality, and that is in the NBA, in the NHL, in Major League Baseball. When you see a guy who signs for Juan Soto turned down $450 million last month, correct? He turned it down for the Nationals and got traded to San Diego.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, so that was $450 million.
Yeah.
Do you know how much of that money he gets?
$450 million.
Now, Aaron Rodgers comes in and signs a contract for $222 million over 7 years. He plays 4. He ain't getting $227 million.
Probably not getting half.
He's not. That's the difference, and that is that you're hurt in the NFL. You're paid 1 year.
By the way,
if you get hurt in MLB, NHL, or NBA, you're covered. You are paid throughout your contract. That is the difference, and that's why it is so cutthroat. And I think that's why Americans enjoy it the most, to be honest with you, because guys have to put out every game, every year. They have to do it. They have to be laying it on the line, literally laying it on the line.
By the way, to show off how knowledgeable Goon and Buchanani, Chris at least, are, I'll show you how bad our numbers were off on franchise value. Thanks very much to my wife for hooking us up with this data.
I think the Eagles are $2 billion.
The Cowboys are valued the highest NFL franchise right now at $6.5 billion.
That's completely.
Buffalo Bills.
I had 4 in my head.
The Bills are the lowest valued team at 2.27.
They don't have a stadium.
Yeah, and they're building one.
That's how they're going to catch up there.
And then our Philadelphia Eagles, Goon, $3.8 billion.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah, how about that?
How about that? That's a
Jeffrey Lurie. What a smart investment.
He used the hell out of mommy's money for sure, right there. I mean, you've got to be impressed.
Now, a hell of a lot better investment than a second-round pick for J.J. Arthega-Whiteside. That's for sure.
while you got DK Metcalf, running shop. So
yeah. Please
now
don't mention it.
the Eagles and the NFL, there are some major league, like what I would say as an American, and some major league bullshit involved there because they're a non-tax entity. Like that to me, you tell me how the hell that can. Now I'm sure that the government, you were getting back to how the NFL, we're all sitting together, we're going to survive here and this and that. They had great lawyers. Pete Rozelle was a great lawyer and great to get all of that. Burt Bell was the original.
Yep.
He's the one that got the whole NFL started. Rozelle took it to the next level. But think about that. They're not paying taxes on any kind of income. Like that is just utterly insane to me. I mean, we're gonna like literally. People are complaining about 87,000 new IRS agents and this and that. Why are we not taxing one of the biggest entities in this country? It is a multi-billion-dollar entity. We're not getting any tax money from them. We're sure as hell taxing the players. We are absolutely taxing them players. Like that's insane to me. How that is still even a thing. If you can get it to me, if you could tell me how that's not been taken away from them or even talked about is crazy. And you're going to understand why things are $4 or $5 billion now. And Jeffrey Lurie has a stadium in his name, the Eagles, but that was paid for by taxpayers. Like that was the biggest chicanery of all when they used all the taxpayer money, and then he owns the freaking stadium.
Dude, I hate public funding of stadiums. So
they're stopped doing it now. No one else will do it now.
Say credit to our boy Terry Pagula. No public money.
No one else will do it anymore. Well,
or maybe there is.
Buffalo, the people in Buffalo get absolutely screwed. They're paying New York City wages, and they're in Western New York.
Yep.
Like, think about that. Your boy, Buffalo, up in Buffalo.
Yep.
How'd he get that name? I don't know. From Tex, I don't know where he was from. And then there was Tex. I don't know where he was from.
By the way, he's not even from. Yeah.
Oh, really?
He's not even from Buffalo. He's from Orchard Park. So, I mean, he can actually walk to the stadium.
But what I'm saying is like something like that. It's like, the people, we think Eastern and Western Pennsylvania are different. And Northern and Southern California are pretty different.
No, I get it. Yeah. New York City and then the rest of New York.
It's unbelievable. Yep. It's ridiculous the difference in the people. And then but the people in Western New York are paying New York City type wages and taxes and stuff. That's insane. That's crazy to even think about. A lot of craziness going on.
Think about this. The taxpayers in the city of Cleveland subsidize that stadium. Honest to God, how angry would you be if you were a public official or taxpayer in Cleveland and you are living through the endless nightmare that is fandom of that franchise and you realize you worked to provide taxes that built that stadium? I think the municipality of Cleveland should sue the Browns organization to get their money back. Personally, I've been saying that for years.
Do you think that we're stupid as fans, as Eagles fans? Listen, I married into it. It's ridiculous. It is an unbelievable existence they have.
I deeply respect their dedication.
They love them to death. It's just the same. It's something on the lake because the Bills are the same freaking way.
For sure.
My God.
For sure.
Maybe it's just dirty water that, Philadelphia's got pretty crappy water and, Lake Erie's pretty grimy and, shit. I mean, Cleveland caught on fire, didn't it? Didn't that river catch on fire?
Lake Erie.
Oh,
yes,
no, it wasn't a lake. It was their river.
Lake Erie caught on fire.
Was it? Mm-hmm. That's where it caught?
No, the Cuyahoga might have caught on fire, too. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so.
What the hell? We don't know what NFL franchises are worth. We don't know what bodies of water caught on fire. I'll tell you what I do know, Goon.
The Eagles.
I know what the 2022 Philadelphia Eagles schedule looks like, and I am going to
I've done no research. I'm just going to bust your balls the whole time.
Who cares? All right. But without looking at the schedule. Now, remember, there's 18 games or 17 games now.
Sure.
18 weeks, 17 games. Without looking at who Philly's playing, how do you feel number of wins for 2022? What do you think?
11-6 would be a successful season in my opinion. I mean, still, it's Jalen Hurts is there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yes. I mean, I have to say this. He is my favorite college football player in the history of college football. I've told you this many, many times. How he handled himself when he got replaced was a stand-up dude. He said, I'm going to finish my education in Alabama, and if they need me, I'll be there. And they needed him, and he won a national title. Okay? He's done his graduation, and he goes to Oklahoma. That has a great season, and he gets drafted by the Eagles. So
that was like his Drew Bledsoe moment on the Patriots right? Coming in the AFC Championship game.
Oh, man.
Sorry, that's a sore spot for the Steelers fans in the audience. Sorry.
He's going to be a great NFL quarterback, and I hope that they're just not cramming it down his throat and cramming him down our throats. And it's a possibility. There's no doubt about it.
Look, there was a lot of smoke.
Do I love the man? Do I love the – I do. I really
same.
do.
I do too.
I just think he's a great human being and a great person and a great
seems like a great leader
representation of the Eagles. So, with that said, is he a Super Bowl winning quarterback? I highly doubt that. But if he can cut down on the mistakes and this and that and just run – you have a good running game, solid passing game, good defense, special teams, they can make a run.
Yes. Although in the modern NFL, the names you always think of, the Trent Dilfers and the Brad Johnsons and the, Jeff Hostetler's. By the way, if Ohio State gets to claim Joe Burrow as a Super Bowl quarterback, does that mean Penn State gets to claim Jeff Hostetler? Really? Oh, they do all the time.
Get out of here.
You see Ohio State fans on Twitter talking about Joe Burrow as an Ohio State quarterback. I'm like, well,
not allowed.
Yeah.
Well, then,
And Penn State has a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
All right, Haas.
So anyway, I think it's harder, even more than it ever has been, to win without superior quarterback play at the highest level. So, Jalen, the thing is, he's just never been an elite level thrower.
Sure.
Right?
Never has been.
Yeah, never at any point in his career. No, he's gotten better. The thing is, he improved considerably going from where he was leading Alabama to that national title game where Tua eventually had to come in relief.
Yes.
And his senior year at Oklahoma, market improvement.
2 years.
Right?
It's two different because he backed up Tua for a whole season.
Correct.
And then came in.
But I'm just saying,
hurt.
He took a team to the national title game as a sophomore. And he finished his season his career as a Heisman contender and working in what was a far more sophisticated passing offense than the one he had run at Alabama, albeit probably with better talent around him.
Also throwing against Big 12 opponents. So
yeah, exactly. Right. But he matured as a passer. There's no doubt about it. So he has shown that capacity to learn and improve. But when you're talking about 1 of 32, even if you can go from where he was as a 1.5 year rookie and take another step forward, the question is, does that put him in position to crack top 12 quarterback, which is where you got to be, I think, to contend for a Super Bowl. No matter how good the supporting pieces around you are, if you don't have a top 12.
See it this year. You need to have an elite offensive line. No NFL team has ever been good without a good offensive line.
Check.
Correct?
Yep.
The Eagles have one of the top offensive lines out there.
And depth,
they
too,
have a
by the way.
ton of receivers and receiver depth right now.
They do now.
They have a running back by committee. They got good tight end play. So this is, in actuality, this is the ultimate experiment for our theory here. You have to have a top 10 quarterback to make a run in the NFL because you can have all the other stuff. But if you don't have an elite quarterback, you're not going anywhere.
Philly has 3 good backs, like you said. Yeah. Great pass run blocking line. And as I mentioned, with depth. So even if you have an injury, you have a guy who can step in and play well.
Correct.
It's tremendous coaching at that position, too. Like Jeff Stoutland's like one of the best
you
position coaches
for a while now.
Anywhere. You look at bringing in A.J. Brown and pairing him with Devontae Smith. You've got a really great duo of top wideouts. And then, some sneaky talented guys who can be your third and fourth player on the depth chart. Dallas Goedert is probably like no worse than what? Like the 6th or 7th best tight end in the league? I'm saying no worse than that.
I'd say higher than that, but no worse. You're right.
Yeah, so a lot of offensive weapons and, what you need to build around, which is a great line.
Successful offensive line, the running game, the passing game, it's everything. It's everything we talked about.
Then you look at what they've done to upgrade defensively. Starting with bringing in the big guy, Jordan Davis, and pairing him with Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargrave. I mean,
that's like preseason, like when you were like a high school kid. I'm like a sophomore. I think we open up with like our first game. That's our first like scrimmage we played like Pennsbury, and they came walking out of the locker room, and this is like you're in practice gear, so it's like a practice game. So
okay.
They come walking out of the locker room. There's like 911 guys, and we're like, Jesus God, there's a ton of dudes in this team, and there's some big dudes, and you're sitting there getting ready. You're like, oh God, he's gonna be the center. He's gonna be the guard. That's the guy gonna be over top of me. And then, can you imagine being an offensive lineman and turning around and you got Fletcher Cox and Jordan Davis standing at you? Like you break the huddle, you turn around and you're looking at a 6'8", 390-pound man, and Fletcher Cox, who's 350 pounds, who looks like a little brother next to him. Like it looks like me and you. And Fletcher Cox is not a small human being. Like, my God. Hey, good luck, guys. And that little linebacker, like, woohoo! I'm not going to get touched this year.
You upgrade the pass rush with Hassan Reddick. TJ Edwards, veteran linebacker, having his best camp. You talking about linebacker play?
Yep. Who's it remind you of up front? Those two big boys, and then you have a middle linebacker. But it reminds me of Saragusa, Sam Adams, and Ray Lewis. Now,
you know what's funny? I was thinking of
never blocked. Never blocked.
I was thinking of Ted Washington, Sam Adams, and London Fletcher in Buffalo. But I mean, very similar situation. The big guy, Sam Adams,
big and a Seymour,
middle linebacker.
The other guy, the guy from Miami went to Texans too, from Patriots. Vince Wilfork.
Yeah. Yep.
Jesus, Wilfork and Seymour. Good luck, guys. What do you want?
Precisely.
You want the Maserati with the 62-inch tires, or the big Bronco here?
The Giants let go of James Bradbury. You make opposing team gets worse. You get better. You add him opposite Darius Slay at the corner spots. You get Jaquiski Tart on a 1-year prove-it deal from San Francisco to upgrade safety. The defense got considerably better.
Well, the only way it was really to go up, honestly. So I got 11. What do you got? And I'm not, without even looking, I know you've gone through it.
I think you and I are at the same spot. I'm at 11.
I don't
wins.
think the Giants are no good. The Redskins are no good. But the Eagles will split against them. It's division rivals is what they do.
They will lose to a crappy in-division team.
If they lose
no doubt about
two to the Cowboys, they'll play the Cowboys in the playoffs and win, or vice versa. So I got to give a shout-out.
Please.
So my buddy Big Cullum from Texas lived up here 8 years ago. So he was around when I got married.
Okay.
So we were chumming around. Big guy. We would tailgate to Penn State. Made his Penn State experiences, lovable as anything. So he was running the Hampton Inn down the street. So huge Cowboys fan.
Nobody's perfect.
From McLean, Texas, and I will give it to him. He's allowed to.
Yeah.
He's in Texas. Now, it's the South Jersey and North Jersey people who like the Cowboys that need to get beat up on a daily basis.
Yeah, don't like them.
Okay, so text me last night. He goes, a bet's a bet. I did it. So our bet was a nickel-sized logo on your ass if the Cowboys or the Eagles win a Super Bowl. So if the Cowboys were to win a Super Bowl, I have to get a nickel-sized Cowboys logo on my butt.
Now, was it like
out of nowhere?
It's
out of nowhere.
It's over after the first team wins, or is this for life?
It continues.
Oh boy!
I said, you're kidding me, right? And
I don't need to see a picture.
No, it's not. But he goes, it's not on my butt. But I'll bring it up to you.
Okay.
Yep. So he got it on his thigh. He got the Eagles logo on his thigh. And he goes, I bet's a bet. He goes,
you are a better man than I would never make that bet. You, for all the love and money in the world, you couldn't get me to tattoo the Dallas logo on my body anywhere.
Well, you can do it anywhere. It's got to be on your ass. It's perfect.
No.
It's a bet.
This is a temple, dude. It is a temple.
It's a temple.
You cannot sully.
Oh, you haven't been in the sun in 7 months and 7 years, for God's sake.
Okay. You want to go through these games?
You want to go through the games? Or you're saying 11? Is that what you're saying?
I am. I'm saying 11.
Playoffs, division title, wild card.
I think division title, and this is why. Because the same team doesn't win the NFC East 2 years in a row. And I don't believe that New York or Washington is winning it. So
I did see the last 10 years in the NFC East.
Philly was the last team to do it.
4 Cowboys, 3 Skins, 3 Eagles. No Giants.
Yeah.
Talk about it. Just a disarray.
Think about it.
If you take away their 2 Super Bowl years.
Yeah.
They have really not had a good 20-year span.
No.
Like, think about that.
Not at all. So Philly's got a little something going on here now.
Yeah. Marsh did something. I couldn't believe it.
One of my buddies from Penn State, Mike Gogel, who big shout out to him, came up and helped us do some technical sound stuff earlier this week. He, for several years, worked as the AV guy for the Meadowlands. And so he's a big Giants fan, but I think he was shooting straight with me. He said, you would get, working at the stadium, a window into the way both franchises operated. And he talked about, there was a very different vibe between the way the Jets did things and then the way the Giants did things while the older Mara was still alive.
Wellington.
Wellington, right, was alive and running things. And he described, again, we were talking about the Eagles kind of moved into that upper echelon of the way franchises operated.
Yeah.
For the longest time, the Giants were in that group.
Sure they were.
And the way they tumbled out of that to the total, the three-ring circus it's been for well over a decade, it's crazy. It's crazy to me how they were. I mean, they were a gold standard franchise for sure. For sure.
They were one of the originals, like, the NHL does the original 6.
And now they're a clown show.
I wouldn't say a clown show, but
dude, Joe Judge, honestly, yeah, man. The Giants are a mess. They are dangerously flirting with Cleveland, Jacksonville territory.
I'm going to show you something. Do you know that? Who that person is?
I mean, I'm assuming that is a daughter of the Mara family.
And?
I don't know.
What's her first name?
Yes.
Oh. Talk about royalty.
So Rooney Mara.
Rooney Mara, the actress in Hollywood,
is literally
the granddaughter of Art Rooney and Wellington Mara.
Wow. Okay.
Hey, think about that. That's insane.
It's a lot of rings.
There's a lot of rings and a lot of prestige in the NFL when it comes to, hey, the Rooney Mara just called. We better answer this. We better take this phone call.
A lot of rings
so
and
that's
two horrible starting quarterbacks from Duke.
Oh, Lord. Cutcliffe.
No, Dave Brown.
No, but Cutcliffe was coaching, no. I mean, he was coaching Duke for both of them, right?
No, not for Dave Brown. Or was he an assistant or something?
I know what you're saying now. Dave Brown was an Ivy League guy. I know what you're saying now. But, so
Dave
they
Brown
were one of the
Duke.
top 5, top 6. They were the royal families of the the Kraft family was looking in 20 years ago at that, saying, "Oh, we want to be like them."
Right.
I mean, God, the guy who owned Gillette was the owner of the Patriots. So what a difference an owner made to that organization.
Yeah, see right there, Dave Brown, Duke University.
Oh, I thought it was Harvard or.
You probably thought that because of how bad he was.
There's somebody else that they had 15 years ago that was whatever.
Yeah, anyway, it doesn't matter.
So that was the royal family. But the Bartolos changed it in the 80s. I'm telling you, I'm convinced of it.
I like that theory.
Walsh changed how practice was done. He changed the game. Okay, and then the owners, the Bartolos coming in there and taking over the 49ers and making it a family type of thing. We talked about the other day about how certain organizations have that family and some of them are just horribly run and just horrible business,
Well, part of it was
shops.
the Bartolo family would do things for their players that no other team in the league did, and a lot of the other owners got pissed.
I'm telling you, I'm convinced they got it from who? Leonard Tost. NFL players for the Eagles would have killed for Leonard Tost
right
back in the day because of how he took care of them. No one knows this, but Leonard Tost started the Ronald McDonald House, which is a worldwide organization now.
Yeah.
He started that in Philadelphia because one of the Eagles linebackers' daughter had leukemia, and he goes, okay, we're going to go out this full board.
Wow.
That's an organization right there. And I think that the Bartolos looked at that type of thing because they didn't have that. No one in the NFL was like that. Just go watch North Dallas 40.
Oh, yeah,
that is
for sure.
An unbelievable look in at how it really was back in that era, and it was bad.
When free agency came into play, Then all of a sudden,
then it was like, what are you giving me?
Your best players could take off, and everyone wanted to go play for the 49ers because of the way that organization took care of their own. Yeah,
and then Jerry Jones, get me Dion. Get me Dion. Remember those commercials? They flew Dion in.
Yeah,
but I mean, there's guys
God, I hated those Dallas teams so much.
I know, right? I was talking to a buddy of mine on one of those teams, Greg Vanderbeek from Michigan State. Sparty.
No relation to James.
No. So I'm looking at him, but this has been a good week talking about the NFL ownership and stuff like that, because it is a huge thing, and how much a owner
so important.
Like I said, I just brought it up, and I briefly touched it, but look at what Robert Kraft did to the Patriots when he took over to now. It's amazing. But they're like one of those. I mean, you could sit there and say Belichick is and the evil genius, and then you have the greatest quarterback of all. I don't care. They still are a hell of an organization, and they do a lot of stuff, and they are a properly run organization.
Meanwhile, like Stephen Ross, utter buffoon, the Giants or the Dolphins, are a mess.
I mean, look
year in and year out.
Think about this. I mean, I don't know who said it, but I'll paraphrase it. It was a tweet. But the NFL didn't care that the Washington Redskins were sexually harassing women in the office, illegally filming cheerleaders in the locker room, just living in an awful, awful, awful living experience and working experience for women in that organization. But once Jeffrey
and injured defensive tackles too, by the way,
putting a quarterback back in there who had a hairline ligament left in his leg, and let's put him back in there.
Yeah.
So how bad is that organization? And then, but when it comes out that Schneider lied about the gate and was going to cost each organization $30,000,
then the knives came out.
They wanted him out. Think about that. Think about that. What they were like, okay, because it was definitely the good old boys club.
Yeah.
The absolute good old boys club. But once he went into their pocket, and it was just for literally
pocket
change. Literally pocket change. He goes and do that, and now they're taking votes to get rid of him.
Mm-hmm.
That's unbelievable to me. And the other one is
the mob, basically.
Exactly right. Yeah. And the other one is Goodell with his when he came in. I know I've talked about it. When he came into the league and was like, you playing to honor the shield. It's an honor to play in the NFL. You protect the shield at all costs. I got you. Mm-hmm. So he was handing out suspensions, this and that, but then he was hammering guys on it. But he was like, okay, this is the rule. This is the line we're going to take right now. But then the line started getting a little swayed here on different organizations and different players, and it was like, okay, this is bull now. And this is where we're at right now, where people don't trust Roger Goodell.
Yeah.
At all. At all.
Well, the players don't trust him. The fans don't trust him. And that's part of why they tried to go to this independent, decision from a judge.
Yeah.
And the NFL gets clobbered for it anyway.
Well, let them make the decision, and they make the wrong decision, so the NFL gets hammered for it. So now they have an emergency meetings in Minneapolis. Gee, wonder what that's about. They're not going to rest until
Josh Rosen is the starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns.
Push it, Rosen. Rosen in Green or in Cleveland. Maybe.
Have you heard the rumor that they may be in play for Jimmy G?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, imagine they move heaven and earth to bring in Deshaun Watson, give him that contract, and then they've got to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. Again,
and you're going to have Baker Mayfield go into
the city should sue.
Baker Mayfield's going to go into Carolina and take that starting job.
Oh yeah, he's having a great camp.
He's going to take that job, and he is a better. I'm telling you, I have friends in Oklahoma, very well connected people in Oklahoma, and they swear by Baker Mayfield. Yeah, they swear by him.
Yeah,
they say he is a good person, a good human being, and this and that, yada yada yada. So I am with that. That's how I feel. I just think that they just turned on him so bad. I don't get why the city, the team, the organization just completely turned their back on that dude that fast.
I did. I mean, look at the history of that team since they've come back in the league.
I have an idea, and you may call me a little bit crazy.
Yeah, go ahead.
But that homeboy, that man did a ton. He did a ton of off-season advertising money. Remember the housing?
Yeah. No, I'm sure that's part of it.
Making bank.
No, I'm
And
sure
he was
that's part of it.
bank.
Yep.
Now I go back to the NIL because I can't go a show without mentioning NIL. You know this. I mean, it's like so.
There you
Go back to the NIL.
Shoehorn in an NIL reference.
Where you have guys and there's animosity in the locker room, and that might be it. It would explain a whole bunch. The guy, he won them a playoff game. No one has done that.
Against the Steelers.
Against the Steelers.
Yep. Yeah, wow.
And then he comes back the next year and injures his off shoulder to the point where he needs off-season surgery, but he plays 17 games.
Play him through it. Yep.
I don't get, buddy. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know. We shall see. By the way, you know who else is having a lights-out camp from what I've heard? Absolutely kills me. Jahan Dotson.
I was just going to say Jahan Dotson because I did see an article where he moved up and he's the starting guy right now.
Yeah.
My Lord.
Carson Wentz, on the other hand, has been having a pretty rough go of it, apparently. And, he has been like wildly off target on a lot of his throws, supposedly. And if you remember, what was one of the distinguishing characteristics of Dotson while he played here? There would be that kind of Bobby Ingram-esque
I'm trying to throw the ball away.
that it looks like it's nowhere within his catch radius, and then all of a sudden there it is in his mitts.
Whack.
So, yeah. Anyway, there are Penn State studs all over the NFC East, and it kills me. You got Saquon Barkley and Micah Parsons and Jahan Dotson.
They're all skill players.
Offensive line is a skill position.
To me, it is.
Hey, I'll tell you what. Speaking of the Bills we were talking about a little bit earlier, and Penn Staters having great camps, they absolutely love Ryan Bates up there.
Is he starting tackle?
No, they have him a guard.
Okay.
Which is that's his best position, in my opinion.
It's an athletic guard right there, buddy.
Yeah, in fact, I think Bates probably would be remembered more fondly at Penn State if they would have kept him at one position instead of cycling him around. I think if he would have just been a guard his whole career here, he would definitely be thought of as a better player than I think he generally is.
There's the guy right there who people say, why did he leave? Why did he leave? Why did he leave? He never got drafted. He was a free agent pickup, but I go back to this. He started here for 3 years. He was not going to get any better. His draft status was where it was. It was not going to go up higher, wasn't going to go any lower, and you only have so much tread left on your tire, brother. You only have so much on your tires, and having another year at Penn State, being a fourth-year starter in the Big Ten, takes a lot of tread off those tires. So he made the right move. People at the time, people were like, "That's a stupid move. It's a stupid move. He won't get drafted." He did not get drafted, but he was comfortable enough in his ability, and he's now made the NFL as an NFL starter.
Right. Yeah, he's a key starter now on a conference title favorite team, and he can thank for all of it the Philadelphia Eagles organization.
Correct.
Because it was the Eagles that traded him to Buffalo. There's no way he was going to make the Eagles too deep with their offensive line, but it was one of those situations where Philly thought there's maybe a little something there.
It
Buffalo
didn't hurt
agreed.
that Butler recruited him to Penn State.
Draft pick came back. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Butler recruited him from Archbishop Wood. And then him and McDermott are obviously LaSalle guys, so they knew exactly what type of kid they were going to get, and the type of kid they could pull into their office and say, "This is what we want from you. We're not going to bullshit you." And that's all you want from a coach.
So did you watch Hard Knocks?
I did not. I usually like to binge those type of shows.
Gotcha. Okay.
But I did see a video of a certain badass defensive end doing Billie Jean.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny, actually.
Yeah, no doubt. Jason Cabinda got a lot of screen time.
All right.
And, Dan Campbell.
Cabinda's a guy playing linebacker, but now plays fullback, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. You cannot get more Penn State than that.
Good for him. Well, the neck roll, the eyes, running around like Mike Singletary out there at the Rose Bowl.
So, all right. So, Dan Campbell.
Okay.
I really want to, once you get a chance to watch it, I want to talk to Noble as well and say, I'm just curious to hear from you guys if he is the type of coach you like to play for.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's a former player.
Yep.
That whole staff is former players. It's crazy. It's all guys that I watched in high school and college. Like Mark Brunell is their quarterback coach. Antoine Randall L is their receivers coach. Their defensive coordinator is Aaron Glenn. Deuce Staley's the running back coach.
Who was their OC? Because they ran him out last year. It was a bad decision on Dan's fault.
I can't remember.
I don't remember who it is either.
But like I say, former player on the younger side for a head coach, very intense, and it talks a lot. Very hard on his sleeve, emotional kind of guy. And I think that's some players' bag, and some that really don't like it.
Not anywhere close to an NFL star.
No, he was like a career
journeyman,
special teams grinder.
Special teams, a backup tight end, blocking tight end type of guy. He's very tight with him and Mark were actually pretty tight.
Oh, okay.
So I have a little insight on him and this and that. That what
in
you
Dallas,
see is
is that where they crossed over?
What you see is what you get from him. Again, you got to find the right players. And Cabinda is that type of perfect player.
Oh, man, no doubt.
You think that Hutchinson's he's going to who's the guy from Oregon who the Jets ended up taking in the first overall, the defensive end from Oregon. I forget his name.
Oh, Kayvon Thibodeau.
Yeah. So when he had to go to the NFL Combine, and the first questions and all the questions that were asked of him were his love of the game and his ability to fight and work to get better at this game. Does he love the football game? That's not a Connor guy. Not Connor.
Campbell.
Not a Dan Campbell guy. I could have told you right then there's no way in hell Dan Campbell was going to draft that guy. If he has to go there and explain to NFL coaches that he does love the game, he does look forward to playing and this and that. I'm interested to see how that guy's career works out. I really am, because the guy has the most talent of that in that draft, easily by far. By far, he has the most talent in that draft. But how does that correlate? To when here's $50 million. You don't really have to work the rest of your life. Are you going to?
He's now in New York City in a great stable environment in the Giants organization. So I'm sure it'll be fine.
The Jets, right? Giants.
Correct. He's Giants. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the reason I bring up Hard Knocks, Dan Campbell, Detroit Lions, your opening game for the Philadelphia Eagles. You have that as a W at Detroit. I agree. In fact, I am going to blitz through here, Goon.
Yep.
And I am going to say, and you can tell me whether you agree or disagree, I like the Eagles to start. I'm going to go ahead and say it. No, you know what? I like them to go 4-1 to start the first 5 games. So let me read
Eagles, Lions, Eagles, Vikings.
So they go at Lions. They host the Vikings.
Monday night?
At Washington. Then Doug Peterson comes home, Jaguars at Eagles, and they are at Arizona. So I think they win the first 4, and I think they drop that game against the Cardinals.
Okay. I'm going to say that they might lose one of those games, but I'll take a win. Of the first 5, I'm going to go 4-1. Don't know who the loss is going to be to. They might slip up against the Vikings on a Monday night. Hope it doesn't snow and they call the game like the last time they played.
The Vikings come back 2 days later with a wide receiver and quarterback. They're done.
Oh, Lord.
That's an L. That's an automatic L.
I'm thinking 4-1 right there. Possibly 5-0.
They have a tough time going out to the desert, going all the way back to the old days of the NFC East.
Yeah.
The Cardinals would have 3 wins, and one of them would be against Philadelphia.
Because it was division.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just so
you can't say the Eagles are going to sweep the Giants, Redskins, and Cowboys. You can't do it. It's 3-3.
No. Definitely not.
It's 3-3 right there. There's your 3 losses right there.
I don't know if I'm going to pick them. I don't know that I'm going to pick them 1-1 against every divisional opponent, but they're not going 6-0. Cardinals game to me just feels like I think they beat Carson Wentz in Washington. I think they beat Doug Peterson in Jacksonville. I don't know how emotional really those games are for the players because the staff and the guys on the roster now, by and large, they weren't part of the Super Bowl era. I mean, there are guys who remember Wentz and guys who remember Peterson, but either way, they're 4-0, they're riding high. Getting nipped by the Cardinals on that road trip, 2 hours time difference, that to me feels like a very NFL result, right? Like that's just one of those games you're going to look at it and say, man, I think we're better than that team, but
I'm looking at 7-0 right now. That's what I'm looking at right now, buddy.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, so 4-1 after 5. Now, let's take the next 2 games. Super interesting.
Cowboys
homestand. First the Cowboys come to town, then the Steelers afterwards. What do you got as their record in those 2 games?
They got to lose to the Cowboys once, so that's it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're going to be flying high. It's a nationally televised game.
Yep.
The next
Prime
week,
time.
the next week's the Steelers, and I just don't think the Steelers are going to be that good this year. I mean,
I talked about this with Ironhead. I took the Eagles in that game when we were going through the Steelers schedule, and this is why.
Ironhead's still convinced that the Steelers have a Super Bowl winning team. I mean, he's convinced of it, and he does it every year. And I'm like, God, it's very impressive.
I think their defense is going to be ridiculous, but again, can't do it without a quarterback. So the Steelers and Eagles have played, I think 6 times this century. Home teams won every time. So trends to treasure. Mike the Mailman. I'm taking the Birds because it's at home.
You going down?
No.
Why? We don't film on Monday, right?
Yeah, I just don't like traveling the day before a filming day. Listen, no, don't take
you Robert Shaw from Quint from Jaws.
Don't take this.
William Shatner over here.
Don't take this the wrong way, man. Like you get caught in a traffic jam, you miss a show. Like we plug in Noble and we survive. Like I get caught in a traffic jam and I'm not there. Like everybody has big problems.
No, I look like Garth in Wayne's World.
Okay, so we're in agreement.
I can get you a ride down and back on game day.
We'll talk. Okay, 5-2.
Cost you $1,000
through the first 7 games.
7-0.
All right, so we got them at 5-2. Then they go to the Texans. W.
8-0.
Yeah, absolutely. So 6-2.
I don't see a loss. It's 8-0 already.
Mm-hmm. Washington comes to Philly
9-0
in the ninth game of the year.
7-2.
Now you're the one talking up the.
I'm 7-2 overall. 7-2 in my head, but I'm saying 9-0.
Okay.
Yep.
So 7-2. Who you got?
I mean, they could be 4-3 for all we know. For God's sakes.
This is our prediction, Goon. Washington and Philly. Who you got? November 14th, primetime game. Carson Wentz in Philly.
4. I got the Eagles.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. I think. Well, okay. I got to think about this a little bit because I don't think they are going to sweep both Washington and New York.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they are.
You do? You think so?
Just playing the Pittsburgh Steelers fan right now. Big Ben. No, you're right. They usually lose one. They usually lose a home game. They usually win in Washington and they lose in Philly, and it just drives you absolutely crazy. And then you have your one of your power forwards getting the crap beat out of them by Eagles tailgaters.
I am going to take. No, I am. I'm going to take the Eagles there. So we're at 7-2. Yeah. Okay. So then, oh man, I'll tell you. You know what is going to absolutely break my heart on November 20th, 2022. If Matt Ryan is hurt and the Eagles got to go to Indy and face Nick Foles, my head might explode. Matt Ryan, please stay healthy. I just don't want to see
it. Eagles will lose that game.
Don't want to see it.
I don't ever remember the Eagles winning.
Either way, I got the Colts winning that one.
I don't. So the Colts could suck. They usually do.
Yeah, they'll be okay this year, though.
The year I got cut, I don't even know who the hell the quarterback was but the Eagles lost to him in Indianapolis like a Thursday night game. I could not believe what I was watching. Harbaugh wasn't even playing. I forget who it was.
I can't even remember who their backup was that year. It was somebody old.
Blonde-haired dude, I remember, from Arizona State, I believe. Almost looked like Don Mikowski. His bit of advice to me was we were sitting there playing cards the day after the last game that I had played, and he's like, oh, they're not going to cut anybody this week, so just relax, man. Have a good time. 6 o'clock next morning. Cut. Hey, sorry about that, buddy. Damn. I slept well that night, too.
Damn. Okay, I'm going from 7-3 to 7-4 when Green Bay comes to town.
Yeah, it's nothing on the line, so 7-4.
It's another prime timer, by the way.
Another one.
Yeah.
5? 4? 5?
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
7-4, and now the fans start to get a little antsy. I think I am looking at 7-5 because they got the Titans in Philly, and that's a game where I just think we look at this as an 11-win team probably. And where are they going to lose their games? Against good defenses, against teams that can control the clock, where quarterback play is going to make the difference. I'm going to give the Titans a win there for me. I got them at 7-5.
Play in Philadelphia the Sunday, November 27th.
Yep.
So they're not playing on Thanksgiving then?
They are not. No.
They usually do. They usually play Detroit. I guess it might be Detroit, Chicago. Huh,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who the Lions are playing.
That's a long week. So 27th is Green Bay in Philadelphia. Thanksgiving Sunday. Week later, Titans, Eagles. Not really that bad, like weather-wise, but until we can stop Derrick Henry, I don't know. I saw a video of Derrick Henry when he was in the played Wisconsin. Remember that play? He hit the hole so hard that the safety came up and he just trucked him. But the safety got up and went to Alabama's huddle.
I remember that.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
I was like, "Do you remember how hard he got hit that he went to the wrong huddle?" He was like in the offensive backfield like this, making calls, like he was playing safety. Oh, dude!
Yeah, that's rough.
So, all right, Green Bay, Detroit. Green Bay and then Tennessee. That's a tough 2-game schedule right there. I'm going to go 0-2 there. Then they got the Giants and the Bears. That's 2-0. So
yeah, so I have them at 7-5.
Uh-huh.
They got to win 4 of their last 5 to get to my 11 wins prediction.
Bears, Cowboys, Saints, Giants.
Yep. They split with the Giants, beat the Cowboys in Dallas, a classic NFC East, lose at home type
Christmas,
of deal.
right?
Christmas Eve. Yep. Beat the Bears, even though, for the longest time, the Eagles had the worst luck against the Bears. They got a good streak going against them now, and the Bears stink. They beat the Saints, critical for that draft pick coming up in April 2023. So there it is. Yeah, just before we looked at the schedule,
yep,
we were like, how do you feel about the team? And we felt like about 11. And when you go through it, yeah, there's your 11 wins.
Well, they could get 13, but do they get the better chance of getting 13 or better chance of getting 9? That's a good question.
Until I see how Jalen Hurts looks with the improved offensive playmakers, I'm going to say better chance of 9 than 13. What do you think?
I would probably lean towards 13. I think that this is the season that Hurts really come. It is the season.
The NFC's bad,
man.
That's himself. The thing. The conference is not good, and the division is not good.
Dallas is the marquee guy in the NFC East, and they're really not that damn good. They're still. It's unbelievable how they.
Yeah, you think about what they did to their receiving core, trading Cooper away,
and then they lose 2 receivers the first week at camp.
Yeah.
They're talking about OBJ going down there, and they're like, they really need that much more drama down there. It's unbelievable how much they thrive.
Can you
on that
imagine
drama.
him lining up in Dallas Cowboys colors twice a year against the Giants?
By the way, OBJ is a Super Bowl winning wide receiver.
Yeah, correct.
Unbelievable. Makes you upset that he got. He's the guy who started on the Baker Mayfield thing. He was the guy who turned on him, and then his boy Landry turned on him secondly, and then all of a sudden it's
And then before you know it,
snowball, and he's out of town. He's
Cleveland
in Carolina.
Spent like $400 million on quarterbacks, and none of them can play.
Brian Cypher Kozar. They're going to come off the bench, I think. Otto Graham.
You might see Charlie Fry leave the Penn State coaching staff and go back to.
Why would he leave? This is great money here.
By the way, let me just be clear. He's not a coach.
He's
a consultant. Yes.
How do I get one of them gigs?
They're giving them out like candy.
Right?
I think you just ask.
Hiring freeze. Just hire me as a consultant. Okay, you're hired.
Well, we did it.
We got through it, Booch.
We got through the schedule.
Now,
we touched
playoffs.
on a lot of stuff.
Do they make the playoffs? Do they make a run? Do they have the ability to do it? Your offensive line is aged. It's done. Mm-hmm. This is maybe the last marquee year of this offensive line.
No, I disagree with that. I disagree.
Lane Johnson is as good as he thinks he is.
I think Lane's got another year or two. And then you got Landon Dickerson, you got Cam Jurgens, you got Jordan Mailata, you got Jack Driscoll, who I think is going to be ready to step in as a starting guard next year.
More wins,
or more Lane Johnson he's not that old.
Starts.
Push.
I want to say a certain word to you, but I will not.
How about this? If I had to go over or under, I would go. Let me think about this. 17. So we said 11
wins. Okay, we both said 11 wins. So over.
I'm going to go under. I'd go under. for Lane Johnson starts versus wins, I'd say more likely to be under.
He'll miss 6 games.
7.
That's not 18.
No, it's 18 weeks, 17 games.
Well, we're not talking about weeks, though. 17 games. So.
Right. So 17 games.
11. So he has to miss 6 games to push. 7 games for DU to lose.
For it to go
That's
under.
a lot. That's almost half the season, bud.
I mean,
that's
you
how he is, though.
You figure he's good for like a banned substance abuse suspension of at least 6 games.
How about last year? Personal reasons, misses 4 games. No, but I think that we better. I think that people better honor Kelsey, and I think that he has been honored. I mean, you talked. Is Kelsey on the Mount Rushmore of Eagles football players? Or we said not we said top 8 players and coaches. Because that one stupid thing you showed me from the Jets. By the way, Ronnie Lott played 2 seasons in New York.
Two highly unremarkable seasons. Great Denver Broncos, Brian Dawkins.
Right? My goodness gracious.
Yeah, he's a top 8 guy for me, for sure.
I think he is. I mean, there's nothing
like career importance to the team, the ring, and the speech.
There's a guy
top 8 easily.
I mean, he bought a. I know he
arguably.
I know he just bought a house
in
the Jersey Shore, so he's going to stay in the area if he's going to have a house in the Jersey Shore. By the way, Phil's got 0 outs, 2 men on, down 3-0 in the bottom of the 9th right now.
Yep. Rally caps.
Yeah,
put him on.
Segura. I saw a picture of him the other day. I thought he was like this big fat ass, like dumpy type of guy to play second base.
Yeah,
he had like a muscle shirt on. He's freaking jacked. I thought it was like a real doughy, like he had like a real big heavy ass in this and that. No, it's all power. It's very impressive.
Hey, a quick note from Media Day that we didn't talk about. We'll finish on a Penn State Nittany Lions note. I sent you that footage of the crazy 6'6" punter.
Absolute mutant.
That was wild. I talked on Tuesday about how Abdul Carter, the true freshman linebacker, he looks ready to play. I'll tell you who else. When we were just watching practice, and again, we were looking at the linebackers because the drill was there. So maybe this is just what stuck out to me. But Curtis Jacobs, to me, looks noticeably bigger in his upper body than he did last year. And he's always a guy who has played like a little undersized for a Big Ten linebacker. I think he is going to have a monster year because he's one of those players who – has gotten better every single season, and he's had to play since he was a freshman. And, linebacker man, those guys who are good enough to play early and have a steady progression from year to year to year. We talked about sophomore slump for the tight ends. He avoided that.
Got to get better each year.
Yeah. I'm really excited for the season.
Awesome, man.
Curtis Jacobs is going to have for Penn
State. I'm liking that. I really am, dude. I mean, I obviously I hope the world for Abdul. I mean, there's a lot of pressure on him right now, so I got to reach out to him, make sure he's all right in camp and all that stuff. I need somebody to yap with, so I'm sure he's getting inundated with a lot of former linebackers from Penn State. Hey, dude, I'm from your high school. I just want to see if you want to come over for dinner, dude. I'm not trying to make any money. I'm not trying to exploit you or do anything like this. So,
the LaSalle family. Yeah, he's a first-year player. We can't even talk to him.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
We announce it soon next week. Big news next week.
Yeah, for sure. All right. But for now, we're going to peace out here from State College's Quaker Steak and Lube here on the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. Ironhead will be back next week, and Goon will be here as always. We appreciate you. We hope you have a great weekend.
I'm here all next week.
We'll see you.
Not so much.